You're likely sitting down to watch this video presently, and staying seated for a few minutes to watch it is probably just fine. However, the longer you stay in one place, the more agitated your body becomes. It just sits there counting down the seconds until you get up and take it for a walk. That may appear absurd. Do our bodies enjoy sitting? Not at all. Yes, sitting for short periods of time can help us recover from stress or exercise. However, our modern lifestyles require us to sit longer than we move, and our bodies are simply not designed for such a sedentary existence. In fact, the inverse is true. The human body is designed to move, as evidenced by the way it is constructed. There are over 360 joints and 700 skeletal muscles inside us that allow for easy, fluid movement. The unique physical structure of the body allows us to stand up straight against the pull of gravity. Our blood relies on our movement in order to circulate properly. Movement benefits our nerve cells, and our skin is elastic, meaning it conforms to our movements. So, if your entire body is willing and waiting for you to move, what starts happening if you don't? Let's start with the problem's literal backbone. The spine is a long structure composed of bones and cartilage discs that sit between them. The bones, joints, muscles, and ligaments hold everything together. A familiar sitting position is with a curved back and slumped shoulders, which puts uneven pressure on your spine. This causes wear and tear on your spinal discs, overworks certain ligaments and joints, and strains muscles that stretch to accommodate your curved back. This hunched posture also narrows your chest cavity while you sit, resulting in less space for your lungs to expand into when you breathe. This is a problem because it reduces the amount of oxygen that enters your lungs and filters into your blood. The muscles, nerves, arteries, and blood vessels that make up the body's soft tissue layers wrap around the skeleton. Sitting has both short and long-term consequences for your health and body, making this seemingly harmless activity potentially fatal. 1. Gain in weight. Moving causes your muscles to release molecules such as lipoprotein lipase, which aids in the digestion of fats and sugars. According to research, if you spend the majority of your day sitting, the release of these molecules is reduced and your back end is more likely to widen. Even if you exercise, you are more likely to develop metabolic syndrome. Evidently, one published study discovered that men who spent more time sitting than usual gained additional weight around the middle, which is the most dangerous area to store fat. Heart diseases. Sitting can harm your heart and lead to cardiovascular disease. According to a study, men who watch TV for more than 23 hours per week had a 64% higher risk of dying from cardiovascular disease than men who only watch television for 11 hours. According to experts, people who sit more have a 147% increased risk of having a heart attack or stroke. Legs and glutes weakness. You lose them if you don't use them. By sitting all day, you are not relying on your strong lower body muscles to keep you upright. This results in muscle atrophy, or the weakening of these muscles. Your body is vulnerable to injury if you do not have strong leg and glute muscles to stabilize you. Hip pain and a bad back. Sitting is bad for your hips and back, just like it is for your legs and glutes. Sitting shortens your hip flexors, and your seated position can also harm your back, especially if you have poor posture or do not use an ergonomic chair. In addition, poor sitting posture can result in deformation on the discs in your spine, leading to premature degeneration and severe pain. Depression and anxiety. The mental effects of sitting are less well understood than some of the physical effects. However, people who sit the most are more likely to suffer from depression and anxiety. This could be due to the lack of mental health benefits of fitness, when one spends their days sitting instead of moving. If this is the case, regular exercise could help to mitigate these risks. Given these numerous health risks, what could be done to solve this issue? Get up and walk every hour. Sitting for extended extended periods of time can shorten certain muscle groups, such as our hip flexors, and put other muscles, such as our glutes, inactive. Taking short walks can activate our glutes and lengthen the front of our hips, effectively counteracting the physiological harm of sitting. That isn't to say that getting up to fill your water bottle a few times a day will reverse all of the side effects, but we should always be seeking out ways to split our sitting with movement. Adjust your office chair and surroundings. Fixing your office chair, or wherever you sit the most, and work environment are the most important small but significant changes you can make to reduce sitting symptoms. To maintain the natural curve in your low back, you should use lumbar support. If you don't have a good chair, you can buy a lumbar support pillow, or roll up a towel, and place it behind your lower back. The height of our chairs is another overlooked, and usually adjustable, feature. Your body's alignment will be thrown off if your chair is too high or too low. When sitting, your hips should be higher than your knees. Your feet should be planted beneath your knees on the floor. If your chair is too high, place a box under your feet to support them. If your chair is too low and cannot be corrected, it may be time to look for a new one. Stretch. After a long day of working or being out somewhere, our first instinct is to kick back and relax, when we should really be stretching it out. If you've ever gotten up from a long period of sitting and your hips felt stiff, you'll understand why. When you get home, and even during the day, do a hip flexor, lunge stretch, or a standing quadriceps stretch. Hold the stretch for 30 seconds on each side and rehearse as needed, until your hips and quads feel a little looser. Be active outside of the workplace. Physical activity can help us mitigate the negative effects of sitting. And, while getting up throughout the day, going for walks, and stretching can help, they are no substitute for moving and improving your body through exercise. Current guidelines suggest that adults engage in 30 minutes of moderate-intensity aerobic activity at least 5 days per week, but we tend to believe that performing a task, ideally frequently, is preferable to doing nothing. Because consistency is essential, we recommend incorporating exercise into your daily regimen in a sustainable manner, avoiding unrealistic wake-up calls at all costs. Even if you only have 10 or 15 minutes a day, you can gain advantages if you do it consistently.